Welcome to the Social Chameleon, where we have meaningful discussions on a wide variety of topics and ideas to help you on your journey towards self-transformation. On tonight's episode, we have a very special guest. We have
Special.
special. One of my oldest and dearest friends, Mr. Ransom Ryman. Number two, the second.
Hey, brother.
You want to do it? All right. Tonight we're going to be talking about failure. Some of our failure highlights, stories, and different lessons, things we learned. As always, show notes, links to things we talk about, and book recommendations can be found at thesocialchameleon.show. Let's get started tonight with a little introduction from my friend Ransom here.
Hey.
Bud, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, glad to have you. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, we've been friends for almost like 30 years.
Yeah, you might need to add a 10 on that number, but we're around there. Around.
And this is your 20th high school reunion year too. I was like,
hey, it's nice to have people that have been around that long and know each other.
It's been fun.
Yeah, and it's still going. We still got a lot to go.
Absolutely, many more years to come. Well, for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're up to? And
I guess for those of you who don't know me, there may be more than a few of you watching that do know me. I guess some of my more greater highlights probably be some of my real estate agent days, which are still around, but I'm not as popular as I used to be. Other people might have known me through, I guess, college. I was a pretty well-rounded student, all in all. More recently, I guess I'm starting off in my healthcare career. So that's kind of some of the tidbits that we can go through. Sorry, I'm not really one to sit there and brag about all this stuff.
No, absolutely.
But, I guess for me, the part that interests me the most when you're talking about failures is, I guess, I kind of want to do the show because I think right? We've been involved in a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Pan out for.
And that's when we're talking about getting together for an episode. I was like, when we were chatting, I was like, failure would be like really kind of fun, like we've done so many things.
Speaking of like failures, I just like that kind of brings up a story of like how we actually met. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
we're going way back now.
He's like what was that? Like I don't even know how long ago. Elementary school detention. I forget why I was in detention. I don't know. I don't really know what that was about, but I just remember this white kid just like standing up, writing sentences on the board, and like I was like, dude, that's a lot. Like he had like maybe 20, maybe 30. I can't even remember.
I don't know how many it was. It was forever.
We're up there, and I was like, dude, this guy's in bad trouble, man. Like, I'm just here for one day. Like this guy looked like he gonna be here for a while. But,
I think I still have detention in that class.
I wouldn't be surprised, dude. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh.
But I thought it was just a cute little snippet. Like, it's like those are some of the things that didn't pan out in your life, right? That end up not necessarily becoming who you are, but it's just little reminders that, hey, you didn't make it at some point, or for whatever reason it didn't happen. And we move on. And we got to carry on no matter what the circumstances, make the best out of it, however you want to take it. So
that's the thing, that just those things that shape us as, human beings and adults, and, allow us to evaluate choices and decisions and things,
Yeah, definitely. But, I don't know. I mean, from that day, we kind of became friends. We've been friends ever since, which is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
And somehow along the lines, I don't know, we've always had the same mindset, I guess.
Yeah.
About entrepreneurship. I don't really know how that came about. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it probably has something to do with, who we grew up around, the parents, and then, my family, my dad's side, and, grandparents, they own their own business.
Right. You always had your name on the back of the truck.
Right. Yeah, exactly. My name was everywhere, and people knew me. I didn't know who they were,
Right.
and, we had to work for the family, weekends, holidays, breaks, and whatever. Sometimes after school, whatever. Growing up, that was just normal life to me. And when thinking back on that, I mean, I didn't have these thoughts then, but thinking back at it, I think like, I kind of figured out like, I don't want to work with or for my family. It just wasn't something that fit me. And I never knew for a long time kind of what I wanted to do. I know, I was kind of thinking about this leading up to this episode, and I was, I never thought I don't remember thinking when I was younger of being an entrepreneur, starting my own thing. Like my dream, like whenever I was asked, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I'm going to play in the NFL. And there was no other option. Like I didn't think about nothing else.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that.
And that's all I did. I just was, if I wasn't in school or working or whatever, I was lifting weights and trying to get better. And that's what I thought was going to be my reality. And
right.
That, obviously never came anywhere near true. And then, I knew I didn't want to work.
I remember we started out in the working world, you know what I mean? Like fresh out of school, whatever green jobs we had, I don't know, fast food.
Whatever we could get.
Whatever jobs you get out of high school. I remember always, and maybe that might have had to do with some of the parents that were around us and some of the friends that were around us. I remember more than a few of the parents in the neighborhood were doing network marketing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they had their own little self business. I remember, one guy, he had his own little, repair kind of handyman thing he did all the time. And we had a lot of people that, plus those, the other parents in the neighborhood that did their, own little side hustle kind of thing that we call it now.
Right. But I mean, one thing led to another, right? And we always were around the same, I guess, media for, back then we didn't really have the internet. It wasn't big. It was growing. So we would just watch the same infomercials or whatever. It's kind of strange nowadays. Like
it is now thinking back.
It's like back before 2008, right? Before this little wonderful invention here. It's like, there were only two forms of media. There was the radio and the TV. And,
if you were lucky, you had internet.
Yeah. And that's, and then after that, I guess that's another part of, I guess for me is the internet became something huge, dude. Like it blew everything up. You had all these .com businesses coming into play.
Mm-hmm. We were in our early,
I don't know. So we're showing 20s, our age now, but that was, and we saw successful entrepreneurs like at our age, for whatever the whim, luck of the draw, but for whatever the reason, I don't really know how that mindset was ingrained.
I don't know.
Maybe just growing up, I'd have to probably blame my parents. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I've always had that mindset that, I myself could do more.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, just people in general could do more with themselves if they wanted to.
Right.
But anyway, going on. So from there, we started a lot of stuff. Probably one of the first ones I remember is probably Amway or something like that. I don't know if you even remember doing some of that. I remember that. Remember that like face gel that we used to have? I don't know if you remember that. It was like just like a little bottle. I also like their detergent. Detergent because it was just like you only use like this much detergent.
Right, it's like little cat full or whatever. Yeah. That's all you need.
I remember some of that stuff, but going to the meetings, trying to get customers, trying to make websites and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's when all stuff was kind of still new, that pre.com bust or right around.
Yeah, right around that time. It was like, trying to start websites, doing all these kind of things. I don't know, but I sucked at being a salesman back then.
That was always the shitty part. It's like, oh, go see your friends and family. And I'm like, they don't want to buy anything from me.
Yeah, but then like, you also have the other part of it where it's like, oh, if you just buy your own stuff through it, like you'll be saving money. Like, but for whatever reasons that didn't jive with me. I wasn't a salesperson to start with, let alone selling anything. I mean, back then Amway had a lot of products that you could actually
Yeah, they did.
You know what I mean? And they competed with a lot of stuff, but for whatever reason, I just didn't have the skill to do that. Maybe it was because I was young. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but we went on to other things.
Yeah.
Man, you remember that cell phone one?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, did it start off as the pagers where you could get texts on the pagers?
Oh, that's right. You guys had the
The
two-way.
two-way pagers.
That was like
Yes.
the first text message
Yes.
like
The first
ever
text message.
created.
Yes.
Yeah. You
The
guys were
two-way
big on that,
pager.
dude. You guys were
Yeah.
pretty big on that.
That was where it was at, man. If you had a two-way pager, whoo, you're balling. Yes.
I mean, it was good. I mean, but that's the other thing too, right? It's just like meeting people,
Mm-hmm.
getting out there. Yeah, I don't know, because like now that I'm thinking about it, like we had a lot of products to actually sell.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was possibly maybe our age or, you know, for whatever reason, like, yeah.
I think, you know, when I look back on it, even some of the things I do recently or done recently, it's like when you're trying to chase a check or trying to get money, and especially when they sell you that hype, you just, you know, start sipping that Kool-Aid, and it's like, oh, you just gotta just sell this to your friends. Get 3 of your family members to buy this, and it's like, oh, well, that's all we gotta do. And then you start getting in and you start doing it. I'm like, well, I don't really want to talk to my family about this, and I know, you know, they want to buy anything. And it's like,
Yeah, but see, that's all, to me, that's all part of like the failure part. Like,
yeah.
you know, for you, possibly that may have been the thing about talking to your family about it. I didn't have any problem talking to my family about it, but my parents are just my parents. They just told me straight up, not interested, and good luck with it. But you know, that's just part of it. But for the people that were able to get either their family members or friends, and their friends were able to get their friends, like, they succeeded. You know, I'm not gonna lie, they succeeded at it. You know, it just, for whatever reason, for us, that wasn't part of the scheme, or that wasn't something that, I guess, panned out for us. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So again, you know, these are just network marketing things. Again, anyone who's in a network marketing thing, there's wonderful things out there. The ones that we just mentioned are actually really good, and they work for a lot of people.
Yeah, there's great opportunities there.
That's just something for us. That wasn't the thing. We weren't good at you know, getting people to sign up, or maybe our friends were broke. I don't know. But you know, but I think we had a similar thing. We were more interested about trying to sell the actual product itself versus to get people underneath us.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then it always, from my experience, I think you've had similar. It was more about getting people on your team and down in your downline, instead of the product and the selling and those kind of things. And
right. But, you know, when I think about that nowadays, if you're going to create some kind of huge business, doesn't matter what you're in, you will need people underneath you. Like, you can't do it by yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong, Steve Jobs started out of his garage, but, you know, by the time he passed away, he owned a
thousands of employees,
$1 billion company with many employees. Like, that's just skills that you're going to have to learn. I mean, if you want to own things and be at that level for whatever reason. So I don't think that that's a half bad thing.
No, the skill of networking and gathering other people's, you know, resources and time and knowledge and stuff, that's great. I just always felt like it was, I don't know, scammy or something. You know, it never felt right to, like.
I see what you're saying.
And then the script was like, don't quite tell them everything. Just get them to come here, and then we'll sell them on the Kool-Aid, and then everything will be great, and they'll sign up. It's like.
But those are like, you know, again, those are just tactics. But for whatever reason, again, we failed. Like that. That wasn't part of our DNA. That wasn't built in as to who we were. And you know,
and I don't have a problem selling. Like, I remember when we used to do the fundraising stuff for, you know, football and stuff, and I had no problem knocking every single door in the neighborhood, and I had no problem with that.
Well, see, that's maybe part of what you're geared for, is like selling product. You know, that's a rough skill. Not everybody's geared for that, you know. But just like, I remember when we did the eBay one. Remember the eBay one?
Yeah.
You were actually, see, that's the thing, is you were actually pretty good at that. Like, you know what I mean? You were good at doing that, and that's kind of where I think that's where we also learned about like Google AdWords back then. I think that was
That was kind of new, like they first came out with that.
yeah, but like that's what drove, you know what I mean, drove traffic to
Yeah.
things. And like you actually picked up on that quite well, even though it wasn't a huge like success. We were
Right.
able to
But that's why I like to live in that technology and those things like I can control, then get my hands in there and, you know.
well, yeah, I mean, getting back to me for me, I think the eBay one didn't suit me or fit with me so well just because I don't know. I just that one was not a network. I mean, it kind of was a network marketing thing, but that one wasn't more geared towards it. That one was more about what you could sell, how much traffic you could pull,
Right.
kind of. And I wasn't really good at that at all either. Like AdWords, I remember we were like, what were we doing? Like we were sitting there for hours. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we need 4 AdWords.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? Which one do we pick?
Yeah.
Like,
And that was a new thing. Like, what is this keyword? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
I was like, I had no idea how that dynamic worked or
Mhm.
what, I was like, how do I know what words are popular? It's like,
yes.
how do I know what people are searching on Google?
Right.
Like, I had no idea whatsoever. That was kind of, for me, that was a little bit more advanced for my time. But again, that was just like another failure. You know,
Right.
there were others that we had too, but those are like 3 specific ones that I remember that, you know, we tried and I don't know. How long did we give each one? Maybe 6 months, a year?
You know what? A lot of them, I don't even think we even gave it that much. You know,
Really?
it always, you know, some of them we gave more to than others. That definitely, but
Yeah,
it
definitely.
always felt like when we kind of came up against kind of something we weren't comfortable with or whatever. It's like, you know, there's a seminar going on this weekend. We should go check that out.
Yeah, we kind of did. Yeah, we did that. And that's kind of where,
I felt like we were just like at seminars like every weekend.
yeah, we were. But we were doing, you know, but that's just part of the thing. And that's just kind of, maybe that's why I wanted to talk on the show today about it is like, you know, for people who think that they need it figured out or for people who are out there doing something, whatever that may be, whether you're going to college, whether you're working at your current job, whether you're trying to get a promotion, whether you're trying to do one of these network marketing things, or whether you're trying to sell your own product. Like, you know, like you got to try different things.
You
and
do.
You can't be afraid to fail at it. Like we tried over and over at these things, even though we sucked at them. We're horrible at, you know, whatever it was.
Stock trading, options. I mean,
oh yeah, we did the stock market one too. Like,
yeah, I don't know how many of those we did.
Yeah, you know, and it's just like, it's just day in and day out, you go through the thing. But I think the most important thing for me, what made me as successful as a real estate agent, is that you pick up the pieces. You know, you actually take a look, you break it down and like, okay, what am I doing? You know, what is this system that I'm in? How is this system going to work? Where am I within that system?
Yeah.
And, you know, is this a reality for me that I'm going to get to the end? You know, sometimes it's not a reality that I'm going to get to the end and be extremely successful, but you know, you pick up your grit and you try it with blind faith.
Right.
And, you know, at some point you do have to have a little bit of self-awareness as to who you are. Sometimes for whatever reason you give up, but you take away the things that are like important from that lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing that looking back, like you know, even though we failed at just about every one of those and we really barely made money, if ever at all, in any of those.
Yeah, I don't think we made money in any of those.
The only one I really remember making any decent amount of money was in the stock market stuff.
That's true. That's true.
I made several. I might have made $5,000 or $6,000 in that.
Yeah, but you know, not saying that we were lucky on that, but I think the time we did the stock market one,
that was right before the economic crash.
Right. We started to learn about it before the crash.
Yeah.
However,
2006 or 7.
We started, you know, but we were still involved with it after the crash, and I think that's where well, at least you made money.
I remember kicking myself for not buying Goldman Sachs when it was $1 a share.
Yeah, I think
when that crash hit, man, I remember buying up so many companies.
Yeah,
I still stock in the GM bankruptcies thing. I never sold in time.
Right, but those are, again, those were timing issues.
Yeah.
That's something that not everybody's going to be able to just jump right in.
Right, right, right. But
And kind of pick up the
we
piece.
learned from the .com, I think, crash and all that. When that happened, we had so much knowledge. We've done so many things. We knew, like, now is time to grab wealth when we can. And we didn't have enough. And personally, I didn't have enough money to grab enough
Right,
wealth.
but I mean, we were, I don't know if any of you guys seen the movie The Big Short. Like, we didn't make money like that.
No,
But,
no, 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 no. Like I said,
and I
only.
think I made money on some of the upside, but I think I actually lost a lot more money in the
Yeah.
downside when it crashed because I had, well, whatever. That's just part of the learning thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
That's the thing, all the things we did, there were so many skills I think we picked up.
Yeah, definitely.
Many skills. Going to all these training things and these seminars and the classes and all this stuff. So many skills. So many skills we picked up.
And that's kind of where I take it as, people don't see failure as a good thing.
Yes.
But for me, it's believe me, it's not the greatest feeling in the world to know, hey man, I spent money on this. I have time invested in this. It's like, how many nights away did I stay away from my girlfriend to do this, or family members, and I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
I encourage people, it's not that black and white. Like, yeah, you put time and invested in it, but those are resources that you've put into whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And there's resources that you're going to take out of it.
Yes. You have to think about it. It's like an active thought you have to have. Like, okay, this didn't work.
But I wouldn't say, but then again, I wouldn't say like in the first ones that we had, like with the Amway and the Southway one, it wasn't an active thought.
No, we never thought about that back then.
But as we started going to more and more of these network kind of things, little did we know that we knew what it was.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I've seen this before. Okay, I know. You know what I mean? With each one, I think we were able to bring on more and more customers. Yeah. Maybe it's just because we're bringing the same customers we had from the last one. But either way, right?
Yeah, but as we got older and we got more experience and we heard the same messaging over and over. And we
right, that's true. That's true, right?
Oh, have you ever heard of this book? Oh, I read that 3 years ago. And it's like,
oh yeah. And see, I think that's another reason where our mindset came from, is because we hung around these types of network marketing. Yeah. A lot of them had, the self-help tapes or build your own business kind of books.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's where I remember getting into, Robert Kiyosaki and Tony Robbins and Dale Carnegie.
Right.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, like all those kind of, all those kinds of materials, just being in that environment.
Yeah.
Not only did they tell you go home and make a list, but they tell you listen to this tape.
Yeah.
Or tape.
Look at the CD.
Tape. Not CD, tape.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I don't have a cassette player anymore.
There's some Guardians of the Galaxy, for all you youngins out there. Like, what is that?
Sony Walkman out.
Yeah. But, just that kind of mind, I think that kind of helped with a lot of mindset, because we actually sat down and read those books and listened to those things. And
being around those people was the most important thing.
Right. And so all in all, I think through all the failures, like you said, we were being around different environments, right? Getting new media, quote unquote, right? Things to download into our brain, being around different things. And I don't know, even though the show is about failure, I kind of think that, I'm not trying to say it's not failure, because it was definitely. Yeah. Time, resources, all gone down the drain. But those are the things that when you look back and you take away from all of that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's necessary, unfortunately.
It is. It is.
You have to trip in, no infant learns to walk on their own, right? They got to crawl first, gotta stand up and stumble around a little bit, and that's, unfortunately, for anything that you have in life, like as much as, people want to protect you or whatever the case might be, you're going to stumble, fumble, fart, and fall, all along the way. But every time you get back up, you're going to learn, like, okay, when there's this here, you jump. When there's this here, you duck.
Right. I've been in a situation before, like, how did I handle it in the past? Okay.
Right. and it's like, do I want a different result kind of thing? And that's kind of the things that you have to talk about failure. So what
Yes.
is the other one? I remember the real estate investor one. I guess to
Yeah.
me, you
That
were
was, we kept always circling back around to like those two things: real
the,
estate and the stock
the
market.
stock market, and I
That was
think
like
that's
the
kind
thing
of,
back around to all the time.
yeah, for whatever reason, those were the two ones. And I think I remember that's when we went to Arizona, right, for the
Yeah, it
conference.
is. Yes, we did.
That's kind of
We
where
were,
you actually fell in love with Arizona. You're like,
I
dude,
did. That's yeah. And that's why I moved out here. I was like, I wanted to move, and I was like, man, of all the places I've been to, I've been to a bunch of places, being in the Army, reserves and National Guard and stuff, and then we took that trip here, and this was one of the places I was really like, if I'm gonna move somewhere, this is where I'm gonna move. And that's where I'm at now.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, so we did kind of go back and forth between those two. For you, I think the stock market one panned out a little bit more. I still dabble in it now and then, but for me, the real estate investor one, and like how many properties did we look at? Like
Oh
maybe
my
10,
gosh,
maybe 10 a week.
yeah, we do minimum,
Yeah, it's like I remember every
look,
Sunday,
every Sunday the
we
paper
would
came
like
out. We
got
got
together, we just start crunching numbers, we'd be looking at,
print them out, drive around.
yeah, doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, for me, failure after failure, I kind of took into the real estate investor. Even though I didn't end up doing that particular one, I actually took something away from that and became a real estate agent.
Right.
Again, I failed at this real estate investor network marketing thing that we were doing,
Yeah.
but I did get heavy into it. I did learn a lot through the information that they had, right? Because they taught all these classes. I think we went up to some of the higher levels on that one.
We were there, we were there for like a week. I think it was like a week, maybe two. I think it was a week.
I'm not sure.
I remember. I mean, it was like going to college. It was like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the courses, and we picked out all our courses, and we went to those classes, and they were like,
Yeah, it was, but these were, these weren't like professors that we were talking to or listening to. These were actual investors.
Right.
I remember one of the guys, like he was like, I don't know, he was building a lot of projects out in Arizona.
Yeah, he was. I remember he was talking about that. Like, he would he'd buy up these big empty lots, these old farms and stuff, and he would put in the sewer and the power and the curbs and the gutters and the sidewalks, and he would sell off and that's how he did his money.
And it's just kind of like, that was like, and we were young back then. It was like, this guy's talking about like multi-million-dollar projects right now. Like we're just some small time dudes here, just starting out, looking at buying our first house. Like,
listen, the most money I've ever made is $50,000 in a year. Hold on. I just bought this $33 million lot, and I'm gonna tear it down, put about $18 million in. I'm gonna flip it for $55 million. I'm like, what the fuck did you just?
I was like, dang, this guy.
Weekend project.
This guy's pretty. But see, that's kind of where I didn't quite get that heavily into it. But I went there to learn.
Yes.
And I think after all these other failures, Amway, the cell phone, the eBay, the stock market, I was like, you know what? I think I really want to succeed at this. I don't know. I just had my mind set. I was like, we're going to do this. We're going to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And, we listened to all kinds of guys. We listened to attorneys, right? We listened to tax people.
Yeah.
We listened to guys that were doing short sales, and like that was like a new thing
using
around that time.
Retirement accounts to buy up properties and
yeah, definitely. Building corporations and stuff like that to shelter taxes. Like it was advanced. That was like some advanced stuff that was out there. And even though I never really got into that particular side of it, I learned from all of that and became a successful real estate agent after. Yeah. Which was kind of crazy. And I guess
tell us a little bit about that. What was it like going from taking these classes and then kind of getting into the professional aspect of it? What was that like?
Well, I remember at the same time that we were going through that whole real estate investor thing. That wasn't the first one I took. I took another one on my own.
Yeah, and I took it before on my own as well.
Yeah, we did a lot like on our own, but these are the ones I remember we did together.
Yeah.
and just kind of going through it. And then from there, I went to go get my real estate license just to kind of see how that would be.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going through the real estate investor thing. Having my license was, I think, was kind of like a drawback to that.
Yeah, I
If I
remember you talking
remember,
about that.
if I remember correctly, because once you get your license, now held to the code of ethics, all this
Around
kind of
different
thing.
laws and things.
And then from there, I was able to find a mentor. One of the greatest men I still know to this day. He's tremendous amount of patience,
Absolutely.
his wing. You know, done many great, wonderful things for me, and hopefully, I can repay all.
Me as well. Yeah, he's.
I'm sure I've impacted his life as well, but but there were some of the things that were, I guess, counterintuitive, and that's kind of possibly why I didn't necessarily go with the real estate investor thing.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Real estate investors are in it for whatever purpose, and it was, but for some reason, I found the mentor being an agent.
Right.
And that kind of took me to another level. But what was interesting for me when I started being a real estate agent was I started when the market was hot, right around the 2007. So right around the tail end of that, right before the market crashed in 2008, and it was easy.
Yeah.
You just go up, talk to people, get a house on the market, and whatever.
Everybody make a shitload of money.
Yeah, well, I mean, not a crap load, but it would sell. And I just remember, I was like, this is it. Like, you just put it on the market and it sells. I was like, this is kind of crazy, man. This is interesting. And and we lived in Hawaii, and this was like, houses weren't cheap back then, man. They're still cheap.
Still
like $700,000 is like the median price, and people were
you buy a shithole for $500,000 easy.
And I'm like, how is this? I was like, how is this possible? I remember, we just went to the real estate investor thing, and this guy's talking about all these homes, and I'm like, I'm not going to have that kind of money to do that. And then here I was in real life, like as a real estate agent, like selling these things. And I was like, wow, like that's just unheard of. But of course it was all inflated. And of course it fell in 2008. And if you guys have seen that movie, The Big Short, it's a good movie about what actually happened. And I remember watching that movie. I was like, hey, that was me, dude. That guy's talking about, oh, just sign here to get your mortgage. Like,
we talked about it many times. Yeah.
No income verification, no nothing. I think they called them ninja loans. That's what they were called. Yeah. No income, no job. And there you go.
Yeah. I remember having this conversation many times. And you're like, Tyson, just go get a mortgage. I'm like, there's no way I can qualify. It's like, you can walk in there, you qualify. I'm like,
yeah.
I never was comfortable with it. I just was like, man, I just can't.
No, I mean, for whatever reason, I think if you would have got in and out when I started in 2007, we could have scooped cash.
Yes, definitely.
That's definitely what it was. But hey, again, another failure, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're not perfect.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to look at these failures as misses, and just keep moving. But anyway, getting back to the story. So it was easy. And then in 2008, it got hard because now all of a sudden people couldn't get loans.
Yep.
And houses weren't worth what they used to. So now people wanted to sell these houses and they weren't worth how much they bought them for, how much they signed on the line for, which they couldn't afford, which is even worse. But I think for me, having the advantage, and this is where one of my failures, the real estate investor thing that we did, the light bulb started to turn on and start clicking like, hey, I've heard this before. I was like, I've seen this before. I was like, I know how to sell this guy's house because I had the knowledge. And that's kind of, it was a really interesting thing. So now all of a sudden I'm this young guy. I think I was like mid-20s in real estate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was all of a sudden on even par with these agents who had never done this kind of sales before. They were so used to the market going up in one direction that, I just put it on the market and it sells, to now they got to go through short sales. Now they got to talk to lenders. Now they have to start, doing things a little bit differently, working with buyers to have them wait instead of getting something instantaneously. And it kind of took off. And again, I also had a great mentor who showed me the ropes, who's been through a market too. So I had the best of both worlds. I had somebody who's been an agent for a while, and I also had this real estate investor knowledge coming from within me that just kind of took off. And then, all of these things, right? Failure after failure. It's like, I was like, okay, I've seen this before. I know how to do this. I know how to do this. And like, I just kind of, I was like, oh, I've tripped here before. I'm not going to trip here because I know how to do this. Oh, I fell here before. I know, and in fact, I guess we can get into the real estate transaction from hell that I call it.
Yeah. But that's the thing. All those things that you did and leading up to this moment in time.
Yeah, it was
what helped you become successful in that economic situation we found ourselves in.
Right. And even when I went back to school, like we can get into that story a little later, but yeah, so for me, a prime example is why I was successful is I call this the real estate transaction from hell. But anyway, for those of you that know the vernacular and the verbiage, but this house was a short sale.
Could you take like 2 seconds and explain what a short sale is for those that don't know what that is?
Okay, so when somebody goes out to buy a house, right, they get a mortgage. The mortgage is, let's just say, I don't want to scare people away or whatever. Let's just say the mortgage is going to be $300,000. Sure. I think most people can appreciate that, right? You buy the house, you get it. And traditionally what happens in mortgages, right, is that you pay it down and then you own the house.
Right.
Okay. However, in 2008, there were a lot of people, especially either in the mortgage or real estate industry in general, who lost their jobs, whether it be construction, whether it be appraisers, whether it be whoever. People that own offices under these big corporations, they lost their job. So now they don't have any income to pay their mortgage, right? But, they don't want to foreclose on their house, right? So in the traditional sense, you're like, okay, I bought this house. It should be worth $300,000, right? That's what the bank gave me.
Right.
So now I'm going to go sell it. Except now in 2008, you have a big problem because your house is only worth $250,000. So there's $50,000 of a gap.
Right.
Your house is not worth anymore. You can't pay the mortgage. And you can't come up with $50,000. You can't even pay the mortgage. How are you going to come up with $50,000?
Right.
So the banks developed a way to aid and assist people in this situation. And I think they're just helping themselves because they don't really want your house.
Yeah, they don't
want you to make a mortgage payment. But that's another story for another day. So what the bank allows you to do is the bank allows you to sell your house for less than they gave you the mortgage. And that's why it's called a short sale, because the bank is short money.
Where does that money go?
In the past, it was forgiven, right? So they give it to you. So you have to claim it as income on your taxes. But they forgave that amount. So you didn't have to pay taxes on it. It wasn't considered income. But it doesn't go anywhere. It's paper money, basically.
Just delete the numbers in the computer.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, this made sense for everybody. The person that was living in their house could now hopefully, either sell it or get out of it. And the bank would recoup some money because you guys got to understand that for the bank, a mortgage is a business. Like,
yes,
that's how they make money.
Yeah.
So in the event that you're not paying the mortgage, they're losing money every month, right?
Right.
Like, this person owes me $1,200 a month. Well, I'm not getting $1,200 a month now. Okay, so let's take their house back. Oh, wait, they can't pay me $300,000 that I gave them. So, so they kind of look for a deal, the middle ground. It's like, well, we're not going to take nothing, but we'll take $250. Taking $250 is better than nothing, right?
Right. Yeah, I'd rather get $250 back than lose $300.
Exactly. And that's kind of, it worked out for the bank. It worked out for the person who owns a house. So, these were the new kinds of transactions, especially people who were in just an up market trying to sell houses. Like, they don't really understand that concept and grasp that.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that go through that. But anyway, so this house was short the market. On top of that, the owner was deceased.
Oof.
So it
But
was
why
held
make
up.
that probate?
So yeah, so it was held up in probate. Because the person was deceased, they didn't pay their federal and state taxes, so it had IRS tax liens on the property. Yeah, and from there, it's like, here I am trying to sell this, and no realtor I know would touch this with a 10-foot pole. It's like, the bank owes money, it's in probate, it's gonna take forever. But I went through these classes, so I kind of knew how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went out there. First thing we did, we hired attorneys to get a personal representative assigned so that we could actually pull it out of probate,
Mm-hmm.
and make that process a lot quicker. Again, this is all stuff that was taught to me through the real estate investor business that we went through. Then from there, we got on hold of the IRS and let them know, hey, the owner's deceased. The property is a short sale. It's in probate. We're going to need you to release these tax liens because you guys can't collect any money. And
Right.
yeah, they did it. We contacted the first lender and kind of started negotiations with them.
So they had more than one mortgage?
Yeah, they had 2 mortgages.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, the first and the short were, so we went through all of this, and yeah, so we had to negotiate. So we contacted the first. From there, they were paying the property taxes. Anybody who knows, property taxes is the first lien holder no matter what you got, even though you got a first mortgage.
Right.
If you don't pay a property tax, then they can come take your property. So anyway, the first mortgage lenders almost always pay the property tax no matter what. But from there, we worked out a deal. We found a buyer for the property at a price that the first lender agreed upon. And the lender said, okay, these are the fees and this is who we can pay and what we can pay. And so we had a big time dealing with how much the first lender was going to pay a second lender, right? They didn't want to pay them anything. So
right, like, listen, we want our 300. We're not giving you half of it.
So we had to go through and work through all of that, get that settled out. And after we got that settled out, then we were kind of in the clear for the most part. And then when I went to go talk to the first lender about paying the attorneys that we used to pull it out of probate, the lender was like, no, we're only going to pay the realtors.
Wow.
I was like, really? So I had to go talk to the attorney now and be like, look, man, I know you put in work. You know what I mean? And you're going to have to tell me what your fees are. We're going to have to try and work something out. And yeah, dude, it was rough. There was a lot of negotiating going on that deal.
Yeah.
And basically, we even went to the buyer's agent and be like, look, the bank's not going to pay for the attorneys. We had work done to get this out. And the buyer's agent even then was like, no, this is a seller's issue. We're not going to deal with you on that. Like, I was like, really? I was like, okay, well, we can just cut this deal and you're
not going to get into the buy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't take it that far. I just know in the back of my mind, I know who that company is. If I ever see an offer come in from your company, I'm gonna tell my client about that situation. And
right.
You might not get an offer from me, but hey, that's just how we done. Yeah. But anyway, I ended up eating money on that deal. I made a little bit, not as much as I should have. The attorneys ended up eating money on that deal, and I'll always forever remember that attorney.
But you did the right thing. I mean,
I don't know. Is it the right thing? You
could have stiffed the attorneys and say, go suck shit.
But I could have sat there and said, no, I need my money too. And if I don't get my money, this is all going to go to hell.
My take on it is, that's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? There's no, if I got to suck shit a little, those guys deserve their money just as the same.
I don't know.
But without them, you would have never even been able to sell the house,
Yes and no. I mean, I don't know. It's that's the route that we went to expedite the process. We would have had to wait. We would have had to wait for probate.
Right.
But anyway, it's just a long deal, and that and I ended up losing money on it, and that's okay. I helped the client. That's what matters. That's what I'm all about, helping people.
Right.
And there was just a lesson learned, and like for me, I think everything that I learned up until that point is kind of what allowed me to do that. There wasn't there's no amount of training, there's no amount of anything that could have lined up perfectly in order for me to actually handle that transaction. Like, it was crazy. I felt very confident, even being young as a real estate agent, to know how to do any of that. And
Right.
it's, yeah, it was interesting. It was real interesting. I think
That's a good story. I like that. And that's the thing that I mean, like I like, and that's kind of about this episode. It's like these perceived failures wind up being how you had the ability to help these other people and have later success.
Definitely. And that's just, when you look at failure, you can look at two things. You can look at, oh, I suck, I'm not worth anything,
Loser,
horrible.
Yeah.
Or you can look at, hey, you know what, I wasn't ready for it at the time.
It is what it is. On to the next thing.
I'm gonna go on to the next one. Yeah, I may fail at that too, but you know what, that's not gonna stop me from trying.
Right.
And I see it nowadays too. I guess as we're getting older, I take a look at the youth, right? Like, and I see like, I get it. But at the same time, it's hard to get the youth to understand that this is just a part of life. Like, you can't teach it. You can't, I don't know. I mean, I've tried for years to get some of my younger friends out there to just kind of like, hey, you know what, brush it off. It's okay. But
you're young. You got plenty of time.
Yeah, I don't know. At the same time, when I want them to get back on the horse, I try to encourage them. I think I had this conversation yesterday. It's like, it's like, get back on the horse. Like, what's stopping you? What's doing you? Okay, you're not going to go to school. You failed at that. I get it. But what are you doing to educate yourself? And like,
what did you learn? What's your takeaways?
I think the message got confused. Is like, this person thought I was trying to get them to go back to school. I was like, no, that's not the idea. I was like, you got to educate yourself. Like, there's a difference between going to college and getting an education. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You can go read books. You can watch YouTube videos. You can invest your time and try to do something,
and that's what I tell people nowadays too. It is so easy to get the knowledge you want.
Yeah.
Most of these universities, especially these big name universities, they have free classes online.
Yeah.
There's so many things. YouTube is an amazing resource used correctly.
Oh, yeah. Wikipedia is an amazing source used correctly.
Exactly. And Wikipedia is, for the most part, pretty clean source now. They've really spent a lot of effort
Right, but what most people don't know is like, Wikipedia. Okay, so anybody can go in and use it, right? And they can alter the definitions.
It's harder now.
I get it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like, yes. Anybody can go in there and fill in the definition. However, look up any definition and go to the bottom. They have the resources.
There's the resource.
They have these scholarly articles to back up what they're saying. Yep. Like, you can go straight to the article at the bottom, click on it, and read the article.
Yeah. It's so much out there.
That's a complete legitimate resource for anything. Is the article that's attached to the Wikipedia. Like,
I mean, even I don't know about on Apple, but I know on Android and stuff, and Google Books and stuff, and Google Music and stuff. There's a lot of free open source books, audio books,
podcasts, audio stuff.
Yeah. There's so much. If you want the knowledge, it's easy to get. I never really went to college for like a year and a half. I really didn't learn shit. I didn't pass any of the classes. But I like to say I probably have a PhD in all the things I've learned and done. I spent a lot of my time during the week. I dedicate time to reading, to courses. I spend tons of money every year on courses and trainings and things because I'm curious about things and I want to learn things. There's zero excuses nowadays, to not learn a skill.
And that's just kind of, my point, getting back to the youth out there is like, okay, so school's not for you. You found out, you failed at it.
Yeah.
Great. That's amazing. It's a plus.
Yeah.
Good thing. What are you doing next?
Yeah.
Like,
how long are you going to sit there and wallow in that nonsense?
It's just like, you're just going to sit around, but then again, I did that too. I mean, I was out there, do my own thing for a while. Like it wasn't until I don't know, like mid-20s or so when I actually decided to start going full into something. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, same here. I mean, you know my story, you know, but yeah, exactly. You know, we spent a lot of our early mid-20s learning and doing and failing and fucking off and
yeah, and I guess it's just hard to watch. I mean, for me, it's all
yeah,
right because I had a lot of fun back in my
yeah.
day
I don't
after high
regret none of
school.
it.
I don't regret it. It's fun. It builds character. It's part of who I am.
Mhm.
But I just when I see people that can do more with what they have,
Right,
it just to me it's a little bit hard taking. But then again, I don't know. Maybe that's something I gotta learn. It's just like it's okay. It's not their time.
right.
They'll figure it out eventually. I want it to happen faster for them, but in the same time, it might not. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes I think that too. I'm like, you know, when I was 20, would I have listened to this dumb fuck 30-something-year-old? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. You know?
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I guess that's another failure that I had. I remember like a while back, I was telling you I was like interviewing millennials or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was like
That was
this
a good
kind
conversation.
of no, I don't know. Hopefully, maybe that led to you starting the show. I have no idea, but whatever.
It added to what I was already thinking about. Yeah.
But yeah, and there's just one point like after college, like I was just like, I was around so many young people in college, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, what is with you? Why don't you figure it out? Like, why? I was like, it's right here, right here in front of you, and you can't see it. Like, it was just like, so I just went around just asking them questions. I was like, I'm just going to do this interview. I don't necessarily need your name. I'm just going to take your answers down. Like all the questions are the same. I'm going to ask everybody the same question. And I lost wind with it because I thought, I was out there trying to, I guess, find the answers. For our generation, again, we grew up with only two media sources.
Yeah.
So if you asked a lot of our generation these questions, they would have similar answers, And like, I thought that's what was going to happen with the millennials is that they were going to have a lot of similar answers, but I found out that they had a lot of different answers. It's kind of crazy.
What are some of the things you were asking them? What kind of answers you got back?
Oh crap, dude! I think I was asking them more about like kind of self-reliant things. I guess I can add to my research here. Here's some of the questions. I don't have all of them on my phone.
That's fine.
But I think I was asking them. Here we go. Sorry, I gotta like look for this.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean to put you on the spot here. I just, I'm here.
It's all right. That's what we're doing, right? So we're bringing it up.
Yeah.
So let's see. Dang, where are my questions? So basically, I guess I just have the answers here because that's all I was doing. Where's my damn questions? I guess talking about communication skills, asking them, have you ever had to communicate things? Dang, what else did I have on here? Express, because I found a lot of millennials out there just avoiding questions, saying I don't know. Like that's like the number one answer to a lot of the questions I was asking. I don't know. Like that's generally, dude. I wish I had the questions on here.
There's a lot more like a I don't know because I don't give a shit kind of thing, or I never put it into this.
Yeah, it was, but the answers were so far out. Like some of them didn't know because they never really thought about it. I think one of the questions was like, has anyone ever forced you to have an answer other than I don't know? And a lot of them said no.
Yeah.
But they've never, they've always, I'm not going to say scapegoat or whatever, but, they could always just throw that answer there. Oh, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like when the military
It's okay, Janet.
Oh, yeah, but they just never really been past that point. Other things I asked about, like, have you ever had a purpose in your life greater than yourself? And like a lot of them, they haven't. It's just kind of ironic. But
I mean, I can relate to that. I mean, up until maybe the past 3-4 years, everything I did was all for myself. You know what I mean?
Right, and I still think in the back of my mind it's all coming back to you for that, but there's times when you actually get out there and give. Like for me, that transaction from hell, I was like, you know what, I'm going to help a lot of people by just taking a pay cut.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's greater than me demanding that I get paid for what it is. So we'll just call it
Right.
a day. You know, that person sold their house. The first, you know, the bank's got money, the attorney's got money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the buyer got a new house, you know, whatever. And that's greater than me.
Yeah.
And I'll take that. Okay. I think I found some of them here.
Okay.
So, purpose, a lot of them either had different purposes or didn't really have much. Structure, like, have you ever had structure in your life, like as far as doing this from here to there?
From parents or from the community or
Just
from?
in general, it was just, you know, these weren't specific questions. These are just things, things about earning respect. Have you ever had to earn respect instead of it automatically being given to you? I
Interesting.
mean, like, yeah, like we had
And what were
some.
some of the answers to those? Like what
I don't really want to give away answers because people might be listening. I think for me, I found out that a lot of the millennials have different kinds of answers. I mean, of course, there were common ones, but for me, it wasn't. I found out after asking so many millennials, it wasn't about the answers,
Mhm.
which was kind of weird. The ones that actually, you know, the answers that I had, I tried to formulate all the answers and be like, okay, these are the most common answers. So this is, you know, if I can answer this question for millennials, I'm going to get feedback and I'm going to get change. But
Mhm.
that's not what ended up happening. What I found out even more so was that the millennials that actually engaged the question, they
Mhm.
actually sat down and thought about the question and engaged the question. I found more progress in those individuals than I did trying to put all the answers together and tackle that answer. It's kind of strange.
So you're saying that you had the impact was greater when you were trying to help them come to an answer versus trying to find a data set. Is that what you're?
Right. So my original goal was, let's find a data set, let's get common answers from millennials, and let's answer them for them.
And then let's come up with a solution for those
And let's
problems.
come up with a solution for that. And I found that wasn't working.
Mm.
And this, you know, and then from there I found out, well, the individuals that actually did work, like what happened, what changed. And I was like, it was the ones that actually sat down and thought about the questions. And from there, the ones that actually sat down and thought about the questions, that did something.
Mm.
Like, that turned something on in their brain that affected change.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus,
Yeah. Yeah. You got to sit around and say, "Oh, have you ever had purpose?" Like, no. And then you start to think, like, "Oh, what is my purpose?" And then you start to
yeah,
come up with an answer.
something
And
like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, have I ever had to earn respect from somebody? No. Wait, have I?
yeah. It's like,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Why haven't I? You know, or
Yeah. And then like those kinds of things that are out there, like, that affected a lot more change other than, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, have you, you know, I know, I get it. You're trying to earn the respect of your parents, and
Mhm.
from there go on, blah, 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 A, B, B, B. Like, that just doesn't, that just had no effect versus the ones that actually sat down and like, you know, have I actually had to earn respect from somebody?
Mhm.
And like, for those individuals, it made a difference, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting,
It's not about the answers. It's
right?
actually about the question.
It's the
That's what.
process of internalizing in yourself to get the answer.
Not, you know, and in fact, again, it's not the answer.
Right. It's an
Question.
act of it's an act of answering the question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's, and I guess we can go into the college story for me, because that actually kind of
Yeah. Well,
leads
yeah. So
back
how
into.
did you go from having from what you had talked about, a seemingly successful real estate career with
You know,
those aspirations and goals? How did that swing back
right.
into going to college at 30?
So just so we can like stop going off on these tangents. But anyway, the millennial thing, you know, I went so far, and then once I found out that it was like the questions, then I was like, that kind of died out for me. I might get back into that, but again, to me, I think it was another failure. I might be onto something, again, taking back just that one point where it's more about the questions.
Mhm.
But yeah, to answer your question, I got into the real estate thing, and from there, it kind of, I got successful at it, but I found out that for me to be successful at it, I was putting in a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was putting in 10, 16-hour days, 6, 7 days a week. I'm pretty sure you remember me in those days.
Oh
like,
yeah, we'll be doing something.
Hey, Ransom for dinner. Like that's it, dude. All right, dinner. All right, I'll see you guys later. I got crap to do. Like that's just.
Client just called. I gotta roll.
I like disappeared like off the face of the earth kind of stuff. Like and I was gone like all the time. And even when I was at home or just relaxing, you know, it would be like this. Oh yeah, what's up, Tice? Yeah, hold on. Okay. So I answered that. But anyway, hold on, dude. One more. Hold on.
Yeah.
Like that was my off time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. It was okay for a while. Again, going through the motions and stuff like that, but I just found myself not. How do I say it? I guess the best thing is like Gary Vee. I wasn't enjoying the grind. Don't get me wrong. For all the people out there that I helped, for all of my past clients, I love you dearly. If you need anything from me, please let me know. I'll definitely be able to get in touch with you and help you out with whatever you need. Great, awesome, thank you so much. But as far as the grind things, like again, getting back to all the failures that we did in the past, the marketing. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you remember, I used to cut postcards.
Yes.
Postcards. Used to cut postcards.
We used to have that big table in your.
I still have these postcard stamps because like that's just. At one point, I outsourced them because it was just a better efficiency of time.
Yeah.
But I still have the stamps. I'm still trying to get rid of these things. Good Lord. But you know. But that, and then it comes on to other types of, you know, networking. Like you gotta like forever networking. And every party that I went to or everything, it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. You know, we're gonna go to a Super Bowl party, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the conversation would just switch to something about real estate, and it's like all that work. Like great, like I came here to watch the Super Bowl, have a party. Now, you know, we're gonna talk about this. I'm gonna go to this guy's house after this. We're going to take a look at his property. Like, how did that happen? Like, you know.
Yeah, I remember people saying, like, oh, you know, think about buying a house. Oh, yeah, Ransom's right over here. Go see Ransom.
Yeah. it's like, thanks, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always there. And that part of it, I don't know. I just didn't appreciate the grind at the time I was in it. And I looked down the road and I said, okay, can I do this for the rest of my life? Yeah. There's no doubt. I definitely can. So, but is there a better way? Is there a better way that I could do this? Maybe work 40 hours a week, or like I do now, make just maybe 52 hours a week would be okay. Not 60, not 80 hours a week. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I think it's worth a shot. And that's kind of when I sat down and did some soul searching. Again, going back to the questions. You know, I started asking myself those hard questions, like, what is it that I want to do? What is it, you know, out of all these failures that I've had in the past, what are the things I like about it? You know, what can I take away? I forget. I mean, I think I remember asking all of you guys, like, hey guys, I got this idea. I'm going to go out there and be this computer geek tech guy and like sit behind a desk and like crunch numbers. And then like, a lot of my friends are like, what are you talking about, Ransom? You can never do that.
That's not yours. Yeah, that's not you. Yeah.
They're like, what? I was like, dude, I do that all the time. They're like, no, think about it. And I was like, what? What do you mean think about it? It's like, you have to be in contact with people. I was like, that's what you do. You talk to people. You need to talk to people. I was like, what? Shut up. I don't need to do that. And then like, but that's the other thing, you know, it's like I answered all my questions. Then from there, I went outside to see if those answers were, and a lot of my people said no. I was like, okay. So I need to be in contact with people. I was like, okay, let's rethink this. So I went back to the drawing board, and that's where I came up with the whole healthcare thing. And it was a pretty enlightening process. Anyway, but so that's where I got it. I was like, okay, I need to be in contact with people. I need to help people, because those are the main reasons why I did the grind of real estate. Was for those specific reasons in general.
Right.
So
and that's the thing too, like that's what I kind of like about this story and about what you did. A lot of people would have just stayed as a realtor.
And don't get me wrong, I might go back. I might go back.
Right. But going back, I mean, that always the option there. But to go walk away to begin with, that's hard. A lot of people just spend the rest of their life complaining about, I got stuck in this job and I can't quit because I have kids and a mortgage and this, and I don't know how. Maybe this happens. Maybe I'll fail, or maybe,
Right. But at the same time, it's not like I failed at real estate. Like,
right.
I was successful. Like,
no, absolutely. Yeah.
I was very successful.
Easier.
Like,
yeah,
I was Realtor of the Year one of the years. Like,
yeah.
I but I think that part gave me options.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I spent a lot of time building and networking, my network. So when I was going to school, I could do real estate.
Right.
Especially, because I had already built it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You spent all those years cultivating that network and those relationships. And
right. And that's part of the grind that I just never like. You're always like filling the pipe. It's like, hey, we got something in the pipe. Okay, this is going to come down. This is going to bear fruit. Okay, what are we putting in here? And it's like, you just got to keep filling that pipe with whatever. And it's just a constant battle. Fill the pipe. Okay, make it go all the way through the end. Make it come out the other side. Okay, start filling the pipe. And then pretty soon you're like, as things are coming out, you're putting stuff in. As they're coming, like, I don't know. It's a lot of work for those out there that want to do. Don't get discouraged. And even if you fail, take away the things that you learn going through on that process. But to answer that question, I think I had a way out because my pipe was so filled that all I had to do was take what was here and just run with it. And that income allowed me to go to school. Not very many people have that opportunity. If you're stuck in your 9 to 5, what you put in, you get out.
Yeah.
So if you're not there 9 to 5, there is no income.
You're right. There's no checks. Yeah.
And I've been there too in 2008 when I had to do the switch. Like, I think I sold one house that year.
Yeah.
That's just not a place to be. People can't do that when you have everything else. When reality hits in, it's like you need money coming in. But you're right. I mean, you can go live out of your car. I don't know.
Yeah. Or on the other side of that, you could have just stayed.
I could.
Like, I'm in the flow now. Like, I don't know about changing. That's going to be hard.
Right. But again, this comes back to all the failures that we had before. You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm going to go start something new. It's like, okay, I've done that a million times. Ain't nothing new to me. Like, and it's just like, we had that mindset built in from when we were younger, time and time. Like, this one didn't work. This one didn't work. This one, it's okay. But you know what? I want to try something new. And we're going to go on to the next thing. So like that in itself, I think builds character too.
Yeah.
To tell you on that. So, I had an opportunity because my pipe was so full. And I said, you know what, let's give this a try and let's go to school. And segueing into that, I had income coming in. I had to pick up a part-time job, which is okay. And then from there, from whatever, those covered the regular bills. And then whatever my pipeline is for real estate was able to support me financially when I went through school. But getting back to the questions thing, sorry it took me so long to segue into this, is I actually had the opportunity to have one of the toughest professors on class and on campus. And that was kind of his thing. Like, there was no, I don't want to say, there was no like, here are the questions, here's the answers to the questions kind of thing. He basically said, okay, here's your study guide. And the study guide was things that you needed to understand. And they were kind of just blanket questions out there. They weren't very specific. They were very vague as to some of the things he would ask. And like, you'd have to read like this whole section and kind of like pick out things and actually think about, that made you like, okay, so now I understand what this item is, but what is he really asking me? So you actually...
It's the question behind the question.
Yeah, exactly. So part of that process is you had to figure out what the topic was and then reread the question. And after you figure out what the topic was, when you reread the question, you had to go back to him and say, okay, what your question doesn't make sense. And he's like, good. So, and, you know, and he's like, what did you come up with? And then he's like, I came up with this, this, and this. And then from there, then he could talk to you and tell you, okay, I see where you're going with that. But what I'm really trying to ask you in this question is just the last part. And you kind of explained it a little bit. Let me go into detail about how I want you to answer it on the test. And like, it was that process. Again, getting back to the whole millennials thing, another failure that I had, but it's understanding the question is what gets a lot of people to where they're at. Sorry, I keep coming back to that.
No, it's fine.
On the spur.
Yeah, I think there's some good data and lessons in that experiment you ran.
Yeah.
Even though it's a small sample size and whatever, I think there's something there, and I think it goes beyond just millennials. It you know, it might be a human thing. I notice in things I've done with clients and stuff, when you're clear about a goal or whatever you're striving for, things get easier. But to sit down, the hard part is sitting down and digging within yourself and saying, what the fuck am I doing? What do I want to do? What do I want to be doing?
Right. And I think I went through a lot of that process when I actually decided to go back to school.
Right.
Because I actually sat down and I remember talking to all my friends. I've probably talked to you. You probably
we spent many nights talking for hours about, you know, bouncing things off of each other.
Right. I remember you didn't want me to quit either. You're like, you know, Rance, you know, you're doing good at this real estate thing. You were that voice. Don't sit here like Mr. Show over here. You were that guy. Ransom. You're good. Why don't you just stay in real estate? I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. But anyway.
But to me, I had to, you know, I have to challenge what you're thinking and doing.
Right.
Is this the right thing you're doing? Like,
right.
Why are you going away? You're doing good. You're doing successful. You have seemingly, you can make your own schedule, do what you want. It seems from, you know, outside looking in,
right,
like a good gig. You know?
It was an okay gig. Right. But
it just
you know,
wasn't what you wanted or expected or whatever it be.
It's definitely not what I expected it would be. You know, I went in there thinking, oh, this is going to be easy. This is, you know, and it just ended up being something that I was like, wow. I mean, I love helping people, but this is crazy. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think from, you know, my mentor told me that in such a small time, I had learned so much. Like, he saw me grow from like this little sprout to like this huge tree in such a short time. Like, I was kind of burnt out, I think.
And that, and I remember too, I mean, how your writing had changed and your language had changed, and then when you spoke and stuff, and
of course. Things, I mean, that's just all things that come with everything. I mean, you have to just kind of, you have to evolve. There's, you know, if you're not evolving, then you know, I take that back. If you're at your 9-to-5 job and you're not evolving, you can make it, because I see people do it all the time. You know what I mean? It's like they do their job so efficiently that on their, I'm going to call it net time, but on their downtime, on their net time, you know, they're doing their job like this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me put you. All right. You're welcome. And like, you know. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, but getting back to the whole thing of, you know, finding out the purpose, you're right. Because when I was going through all of that, it took me a long time to get focused. I had to go to the drawing board many times. I wrote down a whole list of things I was good at, things I wanted to do, you know, just anything above the sun. And after I came up with answers, I went back to all of my friends and family and said, look, do you see me doing this? Is this something that, you know, am I too far off from reality by doing this? And at first you guys were like, yeah, you are. Like, that's not going to be you. I was like, okay, back to the drawing board. And like, it took me a long time to get focused on what that was. But once I had it, you're right. Like, school became easy. When I tried school fresh out of high school, I caught horror bad.
Oh, yeah.
I still have the W's. I went back. I was like, dude, seriously? Like, 15 years later, I still have W's on this thing? Like, that's cool. Whatever. You know, because I withdrew back then. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. School became easy. It was now just a task.
Mm-hmm.
You know, versus when I was younger, it's like, what do I gotta do? I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Now, like when I went back, I was like, you're telling me this piece of paper right here. You're telling me I do this list here and I get an A in your class.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a problem. When do I start? It's like, you know what I mean? And it was laser focused. It was like I went there for a purpose. And not only did I go there to get an A, and I think that's kind of where the whole transition from being the entrepreneur side of me took over, was I immediately took things from classes that I was going to use at my new job, which I don't really think a lot of people do when they're going to school. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to go to school to be in healthcare, and then that's it. They do the minimum, right? They get by, and then
I'll never need this again. Why am I doing it?
Why am I exactly? But for me, I was like, hey, I'm taking an English class. Maybe I should learn how to write reports because I'm going to be doing a lot of documentation in the hospital. You know what I mean? And so I took those with me and I got better at them because I knew I could use them at my new job.
Well, even now, you use it in your life and you'll be able to communicate better with people. And
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like,
else.
You know, I was like, here I was in real estate and I was like, man, I've been using it wrong this whole time. Like, seriously? Like there's a lot of contracts I need to go back and like fix that, because grammatically they were horribly done. But again, at the time, you know, I did the best that I could with what I had. But now I know better. Same thing, but when taking like microbiology, it's like, hey, we're learning how organisms survive and how they die. It's like, this might be important as to what's happening, what's going on. Anatomy, it's like we're learning all the systems and how they interact with one another. It's like, this might be important for me to know when I actually get to my job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I took it from that perspective. So I think that kind of made me excel a little bit more in school, is because I was not only learning it to get, you know, past or get into a program or get past a program, but I actually took it one step further as to how I'm actually going to use this in the real world. So it was really different when I went back to school.
Yeah. And that's like, I hear a lot from my daughter. She's in, you know, freshman in high school, and it's like, she's like, oh, you know, you get that even in junior high. Like, when am I ever going to use this? And I'm like, you're missing the point. And I said, you're going to hear this a lot, you know, as you go through it from other kids. You're not in school necessarily to learn that subject matter, but you got to take it as you're learning how to learn. You're learning how to take a problem, take a situation, and then solving it or finding the information. That's what you got. Yes, maybe you're not going to need trigonometry, but if you can find that skill to solve that problem, to find the resources, that's what you're really learning there, and that's what you should be taking away from that.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that, because I had that in school too. It's like, you know, not only did you have to follow the syllabus checklist,
right,
but you know, you had to focus on your audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when you sit down and take a test, you're reading the question, but you're not looking for the answer to the question, which is kind of weird. I like how this show went from failure to questions, but
it's all related.
But it's like you're not looking for the answer to the question. You're looking for how the person that wrote the test would answer the question. It's kind of an interesting thought if you think about it.
What are they looking for from you? It's
not how you would answer the question. It's not the right answer. It's how does the teacher want me to answer this question? You know, it's a different ballgame. It's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So
how can we translate that into the real world?
Into the real world?
Yeah.
There's many ways you can go with that. For example, I just saw one the other day. Your boss asked you to do something. Okay. You know how to do this task.
Yeah.
You've done it a million times.
Right.
Why is he asking you what this is about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just like a test, or what are we doing here?
You know what I mean? And it's like, you know the answer, but it's not the question, right? It's who's asking the question. Why are they asking the question? Why did they present this information to you in such a way when it seems like you should know.
Mm-hmm. It's like, you know this, and you know I know this. What is this about?
Right. And that's everyday life. Your boss is going to ask you, how do you do this? Pretty sure you know how to do that task.
Yeah.
If you don't, you might want to just look that up, right? But if you do know how to task and the boss asks you this question more than once, then you kind of have to figure out what's going on.
What's the nuance behind it?
Want the answer to that question that they just asked you?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a pattern? Does your boss have a pattern of doing this when they want you to do something else? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my dad did a lot of that. He was like, I expect you to know what I'm getting after and what I want you to do. I'm like, well, why don't you just say that? He's like, but you need to learn that nuance of what I'm looking for.
Right.
When I was younger, I was like, that's fucking stupid. Like,
yeah.
Tell me.
I've had many girlfriends that do that to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. It's
yes.
But it's not the answer. Again, it's the question. It's who's asking the question. Why are they presenting this to you in such a manner and form? And then you figure it out. And like, you can use that every day. Like I said, we just used 2 examples. Your boss does it to you. Your parents do it to you. Your spouse does it to you. I'm sure your kids will start doing it to you too. And I'm pretty sure you'll pick up on it. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they already do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just something that happens in life is like, and in fact, for me, I've noticed people are usually complicated. People are almost always complicated, but patterns are recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Patterns come in all shapes and forms, and many people use many of the same patterns over and over and over again.
And then all of our behavioral is habitual subconscious behavior we don't even recognize.
Yeah, and it takes a while for somebody to become aware of that and what's going on with it.
And when you're aware of somebody, I know what they're doing. They do this all the time. It's their habitual behavior, and you can start to
exactly. You know what I mean? And it's like case in point the other day. I was like, the boss is not really saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like, how many times did he tell you that? Like, it's like, you understand what he's trying to do, right? Like, yeah. So anyway, but yeah. It's not always necessarily the answer to the question.
Yeah.
You gotta think about the question itself.
Right.
Failures and questions, man. This is what we on today.
But they go hand in hand. You've got to ask those questions. I mean, when you're winning, and especially when you're losing. Why did this go right? How did this go right? How did it not go wrong?
This is true.
And then on the converse, when you're losing, oh, that sucked. That was stupid. Whatever it be, that didn't work. That plan was not well thought out. Whatever it was, you've got to ask those questions too. Like, what went wrong? What's the after action review of this? Like, how can we get better? How can this not happen again? What did we learn? What was right? What was wrong? Can we adjust and move?
Yeah, and at the same note, you don't always have to take it to that level. Like,
right.
Like I said, when we failed early on, like subconsciously sometimes people miss it the first 1,000 times, you know? It's like, how many program after program did we go to? And you know what I mean? Like, eventually we figured it out.
Yes.
Not everybody gets that on the first try. Not everybody gets it on the 100th try. Like, sometimes it just takes a broken record to pick it up.
Yeah. And then that's why I kind of wanted to do this episode. Like, it doesn't feel like people talk about it as much as we should. And, maybe when we were younger, somebody said to us, hey, jackass, fall down 7 times, get up 8. It's really simple formula.
Yeah, but like nowadays, because I've studied millennials a little bit, I say a lot, but, just a little bit in the past year, we're in that age where I don't know if it's the whole online identity thing or whatever, but like they like to be infallible. Like, nobody likes it when you call them out on shit.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I just got into it somebody the other day and they didn't like when I put them on their shit.
Even if you're right and they know you're right, you're talking to somebody, we know what's going on, and you call them out on it, they're not going to admit it.
No, not at all.
It just doesn't feel good. Nobody's going to sit there and admit that what they did was wrong. you know, and at the same time, nobody's gonna, sit there on point and just and eat that in a positive way.
Hmm.
It's just for millennials, they like to kind of have that hidden agenda
Hmm.
where like, they know that they're wrong, but they don't necessarily have to admit it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I guess I'm into trouble because then there's no blame, there's no fault, there's no
Right.
consequence, there's none of that.
Hmm.
That's a whole nother thing that through the answers that I've gotten, like those are all common things.
Yeah, and that's just like working out. I mean, you got to develop that skill, that self-awareness, and the ability to say, I'm wrong, or maybe I'm not right in this situation, or I fucked up. Take ownership of that, and those are skills you got to learn and you got to develop. And it's like I said, it's like going to the gym. You know what I mean? You're not just gonna get on, in the gym and just start hitting 100-pound curls all day long.
Right, but well, again, going back to the whole thing is that like some people can't even accept that.
Yeah.
And for me, outside looking in, I just want to slap them in the face and be like, wake up, because
Yes, God, I do all the time.
you're taking the long road.
Yeah.
But getting back to what we went through the long road too, man.
Yeah.
And that's just sometimes I'm learning over it. And I think that's kind of why I died out with the whole millennial questionnaire thing, is just maybe I got defeated. Is just I know that they're not going to learn it as fast as I want them to.
Right. Yeah, you go in and your hypothesis is not being validated. You're like, okay, what am I doing here? I'm spinning my wheels, and you get defeated a little bit. But
yeah, but it's just part of the human development. It's part of the psyche. It's part of the social realm.
Yeah.
Like you don't just pick these things up
Yeah.
and get running. You have to hit the wall over and over and over and over, and it's painful to watch. Believe me, it's painful to watch.
Yep. And especially being under 28 years old, your brain isn't fully formed, and if you're a teenager, you don't have any concept of consequences and things. It's just not in your brain's chemistry to be able to contemplate.
Right. I mean, for children like us, consequences got put in pretty early. Back when you used to be able to beat your kid, but
But you can't anymore.
Hey,
I
man,
didn't get this email.
You guys might be watching, man. You better
just tease you.
edit this part out later. But anyway, but
my kids are good. I don't really have.
But you know what I'm saying, though. It's like we learned that early on that consequences come quick, and I guess we learned to deal with it. Nowadays it's not. I guess it's not as common.
It's not. And I know parents, they jump in. It's like, why isn't Timmy getting an A?
Yeah.
This, and what are you doing about it? No. You're the teacher. He needs to say it's your fault.
Right.
It's not how it works.
I'm not gonna get into that, but I mean, as far as.
But I think that's some of the problem.
But I think as far as like human evolution and cycles, I think what led us here as a race of human beings is we had an era before then where punishment and consequences came rather quickly and harshly.
Yeah.
And that was not favored.
Right.
So now when, the baby boomers have a chance to rekindle and start population over again, they try to remove that element, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to happen again, maybe, generations down the line. I'm not Nostradamus, but when the millennials grow up and start having grandkids and they have the choice to choose what their grandkids are going to do, I'm pretty sure they're going to start inflicting consequences, because they're going to realize that it took them a long time to learn about consequence because no one ever showed it to them at a young age.
Right.
And that's part of human evolution. I think that's going to come full circle. I'm pretty sure that, all things balance out.
Yeah. I've seen that movement sort of starting now.
Right.
Where they're coming back and saying, all these trophies is not a good idea. We need to stop this.
Yeah. And it will. And I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. But
I was it Australia or some states here. They're repealing some of these laws where it's called helicopter parenting. And I didn't even know this until I heard about them repealing the laws, that it was illegal, as a crime, to let your kids go to the park by themselves. This parents in Florida are or were facing jail time because their child was playing in their own backyard for an hour by themselves. As a crime. It was child neglect. But that's how these laws had evolved, and these things had evolved in this helicopter parenting, they're calling it, where you're constantly hovering over your child to protect them and stuff like that. But now we're finding out that this wasn't a good idea. We can't give everybody trophies and expect everybody to come out winners. I've seen a little bit of that reversing itself, kind of like you're saying. It's gonna, the market always corrects itself. You know what I mean? Everybody
eventually.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the cycle that we're in now. And unfortunately, we just have to watch people go through it, and that's okay. There's again, this is all show is all about failures and what doesn't happen when we want it to happen at the time we want it to happen, and we go from there. There's nothing we can do. The past is the past. It is what it is. Today is what it is now. We move forward.
We gotta embrace that. Like. Fail.
I don't know about that word embrace, but I definitely think that we should know that it's there and be aware.
and it's if it happens, it's okay. It's
again, I'm not saying that we should embrace it.
I disagree. I think we should. I think we spend a lot of time, shying away from it. And not
okay. I mean, I like facing it. I like knowing that it's there. I don't. Me, embrace just seems like you're helicopter parenting right now, man. Just.
I guess I see a lot of people and things, shying away from failure. Don't fail. You got to get the right answer. You got to do the right things, and don't dwell on it. Don't just move forward, whatever it be. And it's like no, it's okay. You fucked up. Okay, that's it. Move on. Get up. You're fine.
Yeah, and that's. I don't know. Again, that's kind of why I wanted to come on and do this show. I mean, even for me, going back to school, I did well with it. I'm in the healthcare field, and I think I'm happy there. I win. But there may come a day when I look back and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe this healthcare thing isn't for me, and I'm gonna have to start something new. Either go back to real estate or do something new, whatever that.
But now you have those skills to do that, and then be confident. Like I've done this. This is going to be another time I'm doing this. Boom! Again, here we go. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely, and that's all part of it. It's just kind of you have to take what you got and take your cracks and. I know in today's society, people don't like to admit a lot of things, but maybe not admit it publicly. But when you get home and you recollect and think about the question, definitely sit down and put some time and thought behind it. And
spend time journaling about it, meditating, and these things. They're, I think, amazing tools.
Yeah, I've got tons of journals. I'm like looking at them now. It's like I have 4 or 5 composition books full.
Got them right here. I always got my notepads. With things on them, and I got tons of stuff always around and on my phones, and coming up with thoughts and things and trying to work through things, and it's always there. And I think it's something we need to embrace more.
Right.
I never understood the importance. I thought that was some woo stupid ass shit. Like suck it up, man, and get forward.
Again, it's that came from before our time. We were there in the midst of it, and we survived. So I don't see why things need to change. But
I drank out of the water hose. I'm just fine.
I played in the backyard. I played in a lot of people's backyards for more than an hour without my parents knowing where I was at. But
we were gone from sun up to sundown without our parents knowing where we were.
Yeah,
there was no choice. They couldn't ping our GPS on our phones or nothing.
Yeah, we didn't even have any of that. Like
went outside. Okay.
Yeah, it disappeared. But things come, things go. So I guess for all of that, I know this thing was kind of trying to be about me, but I try to make it more about all the failures and things that we went through,
right?
And how that led up into some of the great things that happened to me. Real estate agent being one of them. I did it well. Same thing with school. When I went back to school, I did it. I did it well. And it's work in progress.
Yeah. It always is, every day. Just trying to get a little bit better every day, and yeah, absolutely. And I didn't want it to be about you. I wanted to just have a conversation around
right.
stories, share experiences. You've got yours, I've got mine. We've done a lot of them together. You've got your perspective on what we've done together, and I've got my perspective.
That's definite. Okay, well, from there, I guess that's I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have anything else for you. I think this is a great conversation we had, and like I really thank you so much for coming on and sharing your stories.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Great thing. I definitely want to respect for your time, and we've been on here for quite a while already.
Yeah.
I'd like to just kind of close this up. I'd like to announce the winner of the last giveaway that we had, the Mindset Starter Pack. Cassandra, she's the winner. She's been contacted, and congratulations to her.
Awesome.
The new giveaway I'm going to do is going to be The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. I think that's really a great book, really kind of on topic we're talking about. Sometimes the obstacle is the path you need to take, and going that straightforward route to the bunker, maybe you're better off going up the mountain and coming back down. Understanding that, and it's been a great book. It's been really well received in the NFL and a lot of professional sports. People understanding that the obstacles they do face are the way through, and on the path there. And look out for that giveaway. It's going to be at thesocialchameleon.show/pickme. Go ahead and enter that to go ahead and win that book there.
Pick me.
Yeah, pick me. There you go. I'd like to give you guys some resources and different things to kind of dig deeper into this topic, maybe get a little more understanding, a little more self-awareness on your end. There's a really great article by a guy I really do admire and look up to, Mr. Tim Ferriss. He's got this TED Talk he did. An exercise he likes to do is called fear setting. I'll have some links to that in the show notes here. If in the meantime, if you want to look at that, it's Tim. If you just go ahead and search fear setting, Tim Ferriss will pop right up with his TED Talk and his blog post about how to kind of work through that. And it's really some really insightful stuff on that. Some books I want to go ahead and recommend on this topic. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. Time-Tested Methods for Conquering Worry by Dale Carnegie. It's an old-time book, but man, there's a lot of great knowledge in these old books.
Dale Carnegie.
It's a good book. One of my all-time favorites too, Anti-Fragile: Things That Gain from Disorder by Nassim Taleb. He's got some great books. Black Swan, Fooled by Randomness. His newest book that I'm reading right now, Skin in the Game. All great books around these kind of ideas. And then Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil: The Secret to Freedom and Success. Is actually, if you're familiar with Napoleon Hill, when he came out with Think and Grow Rich, he had wrote this after that. But during that time, he was alive in the 50s and 60s, talking about the devil and these types of things. Socially wasn't acceptable, so he never released the book. And after his death, somebody found it, the completed manuscript, and they went ahead and published it. It's a really interesting book. He has a conversation basically with him and the devil, and they kind of talk back and forth, and it's like a kind of like a play in a way. It's a really good book about kind of these types of topic things that we have. And like I said, I'll link all those in the show notes for everything we have there. And then I'd like to end with a challenge. I'd like to issue you guys, everybody out there, a challenge. I want you guys to think about and identify your losses and your wins as well, and celebrate them. Especially the ones you never have celebrated. The wins and the losses that you talk about.
I didn't celebrate. Just FYI.
That's fine. Take this opportunity to reflect back, and I bet you, if we took some time, we look back on especially the things we lost and the later success that led to. This failure led to my later success, and without it, who knows where my life would have went off. But as your wins, we sometimes we breeze through things, we breeze through life, and we don't take the time to say, man, fuck, I put in a lot of goddamn work, and that worked out and I need to, celebrate that. Whether it's with yourself or with your loved ones or whatever it be. I'm not saying throw a fucking party, but take the time to acknowledge that success and your losses. And that's my challenge to you folks this week: is think back and identify those losses and those wins and celebrate them if you haven't.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for you, my friend?
No, that's just remember, just following along with that you're gonna have to fail a bunch of times, unfortunately, but eventually one day it's not gonna be a failure.
Yeah.
And that's the day that you gotta look forward to. Every day until then, don't think about it, don't sweat it.
Yep.
It's just another day.
Yep, exactly. And as I like to end with a little reading from the Daily Stoic. I absolutely love this book. If you guys are not, I know you're gonna laugh, but if you're not aware, it's Stoic philosophers, back from the hundreds AD. These guys, to me, I think these guys had a lot of this shit figured out.
Yeah. Right underneath the Illuminati, but
yeah, the Illuminati came a little after these guys, I think. But
all right, let's hear it.
For today, April 12th, today's thing is reject tantalizing gifts. Atreus, who would reject the flood of fortune's gifts? Thetis, anyone who has experienced how easily they flow back. It's from Seneca's play Theseus. Theseus is one of Seneca's darkest and most disturbing plays. If you don't know, Seneca was he was a senator back in the Roman Empire. Very wealthy, very powerful man. Even 2,000 years later, it remains a classic of the revenge genre. Without spoiling it, the quote above comes from the scene in which Aretus is attempting to lure his hated brother Theseus into a cruel trap by offering him tempting and generous gifts. At first, Theseus declines, to the complete bafflement of his enemy. We're typically surprised when someone turns down an expensive gift or a position of honor or success. General William T. Sherman empathetically rejected offers to run for president of the United States, saying at one point, "I will not accept if nominated, and I will not serve if elected." If his friend Ulysses S. Grant had made such a Sherman-esque statement, such as rejections are now known, Grant certainly would have preserved his own legacy from the from the terrible turn of events he had suffered. Despite his initial misgivings, Theseus is ultimately tempted and persuaded to accept fortune's gifts, which turned out to be a ruse hiding devastating tragedy. Not every opportunity is fraught with danger, but the play was intended to remind us that our attraction toward what is new and shiny can lead us into serious trouble. And then the accompanying question from the Daily Stoic Journal, which accompanies this book. For today's question, it's, what's the truth about so-called honors and riches?
Right.
I just think, I like this, and it's interesting, kind of what I had wrote about, and the fame and the lack of privacy, can really lead to trouble. When you think, a lot of people, you hear a lot of stories of people that become rich and famous, and or they get these different awards, and they lose all sense of privacy in their family, maybe in danger and stuff, and even unknown things that could we would never even contemplate until we ever get that fame or whatever, the riches and things. Something to think about.
Nice.
Anyway, it's been absolutely fun. I want to thank everybody for joining us. As always, you guys can follow us all week long on Win the War From Within on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you guys have any questions or you want to go ahead and get in touch with Ransom, go ahead and head over to the socialmedia.show or winthewarfromwithin.com. You can hit the contact, and then we can forward that all along to Ransom.
Okay.
And as always, all the links to everything we talk about here tonight can be found at the socialmedia.show. Folks, have a great time, and I really, really appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.